Oh, see, not my spot, bro.
Bro, I don't know where anybody is.
It's first. The first pistol, alright. I'm fucking with it.
Jesus. Bro, that's not cool. If I'm opening a door, don't fuck. Get the fuck out of me.
Hi, I'm ready. And yes, I'm probably going to stick with that intro forever. It's a bit too perfect. I kind of nailed it the first try. Or, well, the 50th try, but the first try in video form. But yes, hi, I'm ready. And today we're going to talk about something that I touched on a little bit in the last video. I didn't go into it fully in depth because I didn't really have the time, but I have a bit more time today to discuss what I was talking about. And that is commentators and what happened to them. Where did they go? Now, for those of you that don't know specifically what I'm talking about, I'm referring to Call of Duty commentators, the breed or ilk that came up around late 2009 to late 2010 or so. I was going to say mid-2010 or so, but Black Ops brought a whole new breed of commentators with it as well. Mostly people that played zombies and things of that nature like Mercadurka and Syndicate, which Syndicate really blew up from zombies, but that's a topic for another day, I suppose, isn't it? But the group of commentators, the era, I guess you would say, that I am specifically referring to are folks like Nanners, Hutch, Pros Don't Talk Shit, or as he's more famously known nowadays, Captain Sparkles, Wings of Redemption, Only Use Me Blade, that's another topic for another day, Blame Truth, Socrates, and Woody's Gamertag. Those were the first, let's see, eight commentators I could think of off the top of my dome that I remember from back in the day. And maybe Socrates himself wasn't exactly a commentator, if more a gameplay specialist, but watching him taught me a lot about Call of Duty and how to play better, at least back in the day. I'm kind of horrible now, but that's the specific era that I'm talking about. Those first-gen Call of Duty commentators. Because this is going to sound kind of odd, but they taught me a lot. Not just about Call of Duty, but about life, because they were always a bit older, for the most part. People like that guy who camps, obviously, were of the same age range that I was in, 14 to 18, right around that time. But there was a much older, but a much more mature group of people that were doing commentary that gave decent life lessons. And I don't want to talk too much on that specifically right now, but I will say the most important thing I ever learned from watching commentaries was from, I believe, a Woody's Gamertag Mail Monday, where he was discussing relationships. And he said something that's going to sound maybe a bit, I don't want to say terse, but a bit out of touch in terms of how we speak about people nowadays. But it's such a good analogy that I feel like it fits perfectly even in 2020. The advice that was given, that I've held on to for a very long time, is treat every relationship like a campsite. And while that may not make any sense the first time you hear it, when you actually think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You never leave a campsite worse than how you found it. Never. That's just incredibly rude to the next person that's coming along or the next people that are coming along. You always want to leave it in as good a shape or better than how you found it. And you should treat every relationship or person in that same way. If you can't say that you left that relationship or that person in a better position than you found them, then you have some thinking to do, because quite honestly, for the most part, it's not that difficult to make somebody's day better or improve their life in some small way by just being there or being a person. But we'll move on from that. That's just a little bit of advice I wanted to give that I've held on to for years, and it's honestly improved my life dramatically. But yes, commentators. Why did they go away? That's been something I've been trying to figure out for a long time, and I have my theories. And I want to run at least one or two by you folks and see if you agree. And my first running theory is that the audience for those videos kind of just grew up and grew into other content. I know for sure that these videos aren't going to be getting a lot of views, and I'm not making them to get views, quite honestly. That was IDTRML. That was my attempt at doing that. These are for me, if I'm being quite honest. These videos are all for me. And I don't think there's too many people that just do that anymore. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of, well, obviously there are always people doing things for the love of the craft, and YouTube in particular is something that people will stick with even if they're not being successful because it's fun. It honestly is. But I guess what I'm saying is there aren't any particularly popular commentators, or at least Call of Duty commentators in the sense that I'm thinking of them, that exist in the same realm or the same mindset that was present back in the day. And granted, that mindset only really lasted until Machinima came along and started making everybody millionaires, or at least 100,000-aires at some point. But that mindset that I'm talking about is just doing it for the love of doing it and doing it because your audience enjoys it. I can't honestly think of too many people off the top of my head that I watch that are doing that nowadays. The two I can think of are Sour and Handler. And I'm sure, I guarantee there are more people out there than just them. If I missed you, please let me know. Leave a comment. Let me, inform me of you. I would love to watch another YouTube channel that is in that same old school mindset of, here's some Call of Duty, I'm going to talk over it, and here's my thoughts on life or thoughts on the game, and I'm just going to kind of roll with it. Although Handler does it live, but he's so good at what he does that you would assume that it's pre-recorded. Or like Marksman for World War II. He was just so good at being on the microphone and playing the game at the same time that you would see a lot of accusations in his comments saying that his commentary was pre-recorded and he was just, picking and choosing his good games. But if you look at his stats, he's definitely not just picking and choosing his good games. He could sit down, record any game, put it up on YouTube, and look highly impressive. But I've been rambling, and I should get back on topic a bit. What I was discussing is the fact that the audience has kind of grown out of watching Call of Duty commentaries. Back in the day, there wasn't much on YouTube to watch when you got home from school at 3 p.m. that was gaming related. Especially if you played Call of Duty. There was always a good dirge of just straight up gameplay videos, but there was never any real just sit down and talk about the game content for a good couple of years while YouTube was starting up. There were people with capture cards, but they were few and far between, and a lot of what you got was like the early content that I was producing where it was someone pointing a camera at a screen and yelling in, trying to be the angry video game nerd. The first set of Call of Duty commentators that really made a big kind of change that for a bunch of people. It showed that there was an audience for these short-form podcast-style videos before podcasts really blew up and became a thing. And now there is just so much content on YouTube for gaming that Call of Duty commentators are such a small subsection of it that it's kind of hard to break out and make yourself get noticed even. That's one of the real problems, I think, that has come along in the past 10 years or so for this type of content. And it's kind of my second point of the two that I wanted to make this video, is that YouTube, I don't think, really pushes commentary videos anymore. Back in the day when Machinima was huge and those videos were getting hundreds of thousands of views within hours, YouTube had a reason to incentivize and push those videos because the ads were going to be, incredible. There was going to be so many people who had never, ever heard of ad block that were, 12 to 18, 12 to 22, somewhere around there, that were going to be watching these videos that were going to be able to get ads. So YouTube was pushing and pushing and pushing those videos. If they even thought you were slightly in the recommended audience for those videos. Nowadays, the way YouTube works with, 10-minute plus videos being the ones that are incentivized, for the most part at least, I think the way of the Call of Duty commentator has just died out. It's kind of like the dodo. A lot of these videos tend to be less than 10 minutes long. This one might even be less than 10 minutes long. We'll see here. YouTube's algorithm has changed so much over the years, and especially with the falling out / dying of Machinima, there isn't really a good centralized place for people to try to put these videos and get them in front of people anymore aside from their own personal channels. And if anybody here has tried to build their own personal channel with any kind of gusto, you know that it can feel damn near impossible. So I think those are just two of the reasons that the Call of Duty commentary scene has died out. This might be a discussion for another video as well, so I can go a little more in-depth on some of these topics. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this little look back into Call of Duty commentators and where did they go? Or maybe not where did they go, but where have all the good commentators gone? Perhaps that'll be the title of this video. Anyway, I'm ready. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you in the next video.